Hi guys, welcome back to the first episode ever of my first podcast ever. This is called Word Share with People Who Cares, and I'm your host, Salam with. In this video, I'm going to give you a breakdown of what is this podcast about. First of all, it's called Word Share with People Who Cares because I'm going to share so many things, but just with people who cares. For example, if you watch the title of the video or the cover of the video, it was catchy enough to catch your attention, and that's when you understood, okay, I want to watch this video because I am interested in what this person is about to say. So you cared about what I was going to share with you. So that's all it's gonna be about. I want to share lots of things, but I want to share things just with people who cares. One day I went on a date with a guy, really bad guy, we don't like him, but this guy told me that it seemed like I didn't want to talk with people. That was in fact very untrue. I love to talk with people. I love to talk with people to understand how they think, to understand their point of view. Even though I'm someone who is really stubborn, and especially in some kind of topics, if I view the things from one perspective, is because I've really thought about it, and I feel like that's the only way that makes sense to me. But I'm really open to listen to what other people are going to say because that's something that makes me richer in the soul. And so in general, I love to talk with people, but why did they seem like that? Of course, I thought about that for lots of times, and I came to the conclusion that that's because we were in an environment where people only exchanged a quick little chat, and I am interested in quick little chit chat, but it's not like I'm really involved. And first of all, I would never start something like that just because I'm shy. So in general, I'm like someone who minds their own business, and if people talk with her or with me, in this case with me, I'm really okay in talking with you, and I'm also really happy that you felt like you wanted to connect with me, but I will never be the first person to initiate this connection because, again, as I said, I'm really shy. But then if we are in a setting group, even if I don't know you and we're talking about a specific topic, for example, do you believe in aliens, which is something, that it's really strange, not strange because it's a common topic, but is one of the topic where you have lots of things to share, where you have lots of thoughts and you can share it. And that's not a type of conversation that you have where you are on the road and you miss someone. I feel like there are different levels of conversation. First of all, you know someone but on a very surface level, and then you see them on the street and you're both walking in opposite direction, but you see each other. So instead of just greeting each other, you're probably asking, how are you? I don't know, it's a really hot day today, and I like hot days, blah blah. Okay, bye, have a good day, have a good day. That's it. Because you both are not interested in really having a conversation, or maybe you don't have time, but at the same time, you don't want to just say hi like you barely know each other because you have a surface level of connection, or just because you don't have time. Second level of connection is when you know the other person, or even if you don't know them, you're in a setting where you have time, like you are sharing the same setting for a certain amount of time, so you feel like talking and maybe saying, how are you, how's life, and maybe you remember that they are trying to get a certification, you're exchanging maybe even tips and advices, but that's it. And then there's the third type of conversation, which is the type of conversation we will be having on this podcast, which is the conversation where we are talking about something, okay? And we're talking about this thing, and we are really exposing our thoughts, but not like oversharing or over explaining ourselves. But I have time, and I don't want to give you a sum up thoughts about, do aliens really exist, because I think that aliens exist. But if you ask me on the go, or in the type of situation that I explained previously, I'm just going to tell you, yeah, I think that they exist. If you're telling me that I'm going to do an episode on the podcast, I'm going to tell you why and where's the evidence, and not the aliens that we see on movies and things like that. Like, I'm really going to give you certain affirmation about why I think like argumentations. If you saw that I was looking down, it's because I have a notebook that I'm not going to turn because there are written all the episodes that I wanted. I know the podcast industry is already oversaturated, so why following me specifically? Well, honestly, you can follow as many people as you want, and if you don't want to follow me, you can avoid following me. Second of all, I'm going to give you an insight about the episodes that I'm going to put out. I am going to put out 30 videos consecutively, so every day one video for 1 month straight. Because I want that this is going to be a series, and I feel like series are something continuous. Yeah, I'm pre-recording this video because I feel like it's going to be exam season and I don't have that much time because I do lots of things in my life, but I don't like to overshare and overtalk about me. Like, I'm really comfortable talking about something like the topics that we are going to talk about in the next videos, but I don't like talking about myself. Like, I don't really like talking about me personally. I feel like that's when it comes to the point where I'm shy, because I also am really protective of my energy and my soul, and I feel like giving my energy outside, it's a yes thing, but also a no thing for me. It's both. And as of right now, this is the first episode. We're just getting to know each other. I don't feel that comfortable yet. Anyways, the categories of videos that I'm going to put out in the first season of my podcast, because I really trusted that this podcast is going to have a season 2 and maybe even a season 3. So season 1 is going to be about TV series and music, because these are huge parts of my life. You cannot see, but on this wall I have lots of posters, and okay, this poster is about Taylor Swift. I don't really follow her anymore, but anyways, yeah, I'll have all posters about singers and TV series. So music is a huge part of my life. I have a guitar and I have my vinyls, and every corner of my room has something that has to do with music. But also I love TV series. Then we're going to talk about men, because I feel like, especially when you're a teenager or in your 20s or in your 30s, because then you're supposed, but I don't feel like you should. Society expects you to be settled down, to have a marriage, to have kids. So after 30s, you are all set up. If you don't, that's completely fine. We don't have a society expectation imposed to us in this podcast. But yeah, men, because I feel like that's a topic that lots of women are afraid maybe to talk about on the internet, because they don't want to receive insults from men. But it's just, we're really going to talk about it because there's a lot to unfold, and I'm here to unfold it all because I have lots to say about this topic. But we're also going to talk about women, because we are also going to talk about womanhood, because womanhood is something that's not as talked about as it should be, in my opinion. And I love to talk about womanhood, and sometimes I'm doing things with my friends and I'm like, I'm so in love with my friends, and I'm so in love with womanhood and all the things that us as women, when we comes to being in a group setting, are doing for each other, that you don't really feel or see men doing. Then I'm going to talk about me. But in what sense? Because I'm not that egocentric. Like, I am egocentric, but not that kind of egocentric. I have lots of journals, and I love to journal. When I stopped journaling, or stopped talking with myself, or stopped reflecting, or just giving myself time where there is music and only my thoughts and myself, and maybe writing something down, or just really thinking about that, or speaking out loud, that meant that I lost connection with myself. When I did that, I went crazy and insane, and I went really into a bad episode of sadness. So I feel like I don't want to do that anymore. So I really took time this year to spend more time with myself and spend more time reflecting about anything. Political view. Honestly, I feel like that's controversial, because a lot of times we are on the internet for entertainment purposes and not for, to inform ourselves or to have more anxiety about what's going on in the world. But at the same time, everything is political. I'm not going to be like someone who's an ambassador of politics, but I'm really going to explain some of the things that I think about and that I hope are common knowledge, and I hope lots of people agree with me, because I advocate for human rights. And mental health, another thing that's really important. I understood that you can be in the best place possible, but if you're not in the right mental state, you're not going to enjoy it. And sometimes lots of things are overlooked, but these are the things that lead you into really bad mental health periods. So yeah, mental health is really important, and I'm so thankful that Gen Z really is putting an effort into making it count even more than it was, and for both men and women. So yeah, everybody should really be attentive when it comes to their mental health, to how they are. And I feel like getting distracted is really common because we have our phones and we have lots of tools to distract ourselves from how we are, but being in touch with your emotion is the first step for building confidence and for building a really strong connection with yourself, and so a happy life. Because if you have a strong connection with yourself, you know when you're happy and you know when you're not happy, and you know what are the factors that determine if you're happy or unhappy. So C2, curious culture. So I'm a really curious person and I love learning new languages, I love learning new cultures, and I love traveling. And there are cultures that I'm really interested about. So I'm going to make some research about these kind of cultures, and I'm going to give you some of the things that I came out with from these researches, which is also a way to kind of travel with imagination. So I'm really excited. And we're going to talk about religion and spiritual stuff, because this is the most important thing in my life. My spiritual self is probably the most important thing. Like literally, it heals something in me being in touch with my spirituality, and every time I literally walk out from my spirituality because maybe I'm too focused on other things, my whole life goes downhill. But I'll explain how I see spirituality in the episodes that are dedicated to that. And then some essays, for example, about music and things like that. So yeah, I'm really excited. So if you liked the episodes that I'm about to release, or if you just are curious enough, probably these are good reasons to follow me. If you like me as a person, even if you don't know me, but how I'm putting myself out there, follow me. And if you don't follow me. We don't want to force anybody to do anything, and we don't want people to just ruin the vibe. Last thing, but I don't want to edit lots of my videos. So first of all, because it would take so many time, like lots of times. Also, I thought about having a theme song, having an intro, having an outro. But one of my favorite podcast is Profound Pondering, and Profound Pondering is a podcast that is owned by a guy that I don't even know if he ever told us his name. But anyways, he is doing videos so spontaneously. The quality is not the highest, which also is mine because I'm recording with my iPad, and nothing is like perfect, but he's just there, a man, his camera, and his thoughts. And I love this content because first of all, it feels so genuine, and second of all, because when I tried to make everything perfect, like prepared myself and blah blah blah, everything, I felt like it was so, first of all, forced, and second of all, I felt so much pressure and anxiety that I really gave up. Like this podcast was supposed to be uploaded on the 1st of March. It's going probably to be uploaded on the 30th of March, or maybe even the 1st of April, I don't know. But anyways, like later, because I had so much anxiety that I just postponed doing that, and then I probably deleted that. But then I recorded a video with my friend who forced me to stop being a procrastinator and to actually do the things that I am saying, and I want to do that. So I shouldn't be, I shouldn't have anxiety about the setting or the intro, the theme song, how I talk, because even if it sucks, I have time to perfectionate it, but I just have to start. I remember lots of times I started things and I postponed starting them, and now looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, you postponed, but you sucked anyways at first, and then you became you eventually got better, but you got better because you showed up every day until you got better, until you understood that this thing wasn't really working, this thing instead was working, but you can adjust it to make it better. And that's all. And I'm not able to do that if I'm not going to upload this video. So really, a good thing is I recorded this because today I felt cute, I felt inspired, I felt everything was right. Anyways, thank you so much for following this video. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, leave it down below, and we're going to see each other tomorrow. Bye. Thank you. Bye, guys.